Hey guys, Amanda here from Human 2.0. Today we're going to be talking about hip mobility for beginners and older adults. So I have 6 exercises that I'm going to show you today that are meant for people who have little mobility or who are absolutely new to mobility training. So they're very easy to do. You can incorporate them throughout your day at any time. We encourage you to do things like this all the time. So if you're standing in the kitchen waiting for the microwave to finish, or you're at the grocery store waiting in line, these little movements, I'll call them, not even exercises so much, just movements that will help you to increase your mobility. So today we're focused on the hips, and all of the exercises that I'm going to show you are standing. So if you have limited mobility or you have trouble getting down onto the floor, these would be perfect for you. So the only thing you're going to need is some kind of a post or the bottom of a staircase, the post there, or a wall is going to work fine. Something that you can just hold on to for balance. As we go through them, there are the kind of exercises or movements that you would do without any help, without using something for balance. But for today's purposes, we're going to use something to help us with that. So grab yourself some water. And with that, we're going to get started. So the first exercise that we're going to do, I call it a standing hip opener. Okay, so I'm going to stand beside my wall, and I just want to place my hand very lightly on the wall. So the more you can do this without your hand, like I said, without any help for balance, that's better. But if you need the help, that's fine. But just try to feather your fingers on the wall, very light touch. And I want you to stand sort of in neutral posture. You're just standing up nice and tall. You have good posture. And we're going to just lift one leg up to the front. Okay, and then bring it back down. I'm assuming that maybe, you might have come in from a walk or something like that. But again, you can do these exercises anytime. They're not difficult. We're not using any weight for anything like that. But if you feel a little bit tight, you could do some easy leg swings first, or just some very gentle squats, or go for a walk or something like that if you wanted to put them all together. Okay, so we're going to lift one leg up to the front. And I want you to think about keeping your knee over your ankle. You can either point your toe or you can flex your toe. Either one is fine. I like to point my toe for this one. And then without turning your torso, you're going to open up through the hip as far as you can go without turning your whole body. Okay, so I'm just standing here like this, and I'm just going to open up through the hip. And I like to hold my body with my hand just to make sure if I feel it turning, then I get a little bit of feedback with my hand, and I'll bring it back. And I'm going to bring it back to center and bring it down. Okay, so you can bring it down anytime if your hip is tired. If you haven't done this before, it looks easy, but it's not easy. Okay, so I'm going to hold my body. I'm going to lift my knee up to about 90 degrees. You don't need to go any higher. And then open up through the hip. Hold it here for a couple seconds, and then bring it back to center, and then bring it down. Let's just do a few reps of that just so you can see it a little longer. Give it a try. Lift your knee up. Open up through the hip. And as you do them, you should be able to maybe open a little bit wider. And again, try to keep your knee over your ankle. Point your toe, flex your toe, doesn't matter. But I like to keep my whole leg active. So whether I'm pointing or flexing, either one, but I'm going to do one of them, just so that everything from my whole body is working. Okay, bring it back and down. Let's just do one more. I can already feel that. It's already making my muscles work. Lift up. Keep the body straight ahead, just opening up through the hip. Open. As you can see, you kind of want to lead with your knee. Try not to do that. Just bring the whole leg open to the side. Back to the front and back down. And then, of course, you would turn around. Remember, light fingers on the wall. I have my hand on my body. I'm going to lift my knee up, open it as far as I can without turning my body and without bringing my knee past my foot, bring it back and down. So I would probably do, you could just do one at any time during the day, lift it up, bring it out, bring it back. One is fine, but if you're actually focusing on the exercise, maybe, 5 to 8 reps on one side, switch to the other side, do it a couple times, and that's that. So that is the standing hip opener. Okay, so the next exercise is similar, and all of these exercises are very similar. We're basically trying to work the hip in all the different planes and ranges of motion that it is capable of working. So we're going in this direction, we are going to go in this direction, we're going to work it to the back, we're going to do all of those things. So this next one I call the high knee into a donkey kick. So again, we're going to lift up to the front, and then instead of opening to the side, we're going to just sort of drive that heel back. Okay, so again, nice and tall, good posture, hand is light on the wall. You can put your hand on your hip for this, or again, it can be across the body, it doesn't matter. And you're going to lift up that knee. Now this time, instead of just coming to 90, okay, like we did before, just here and then close, I want you to lift it up as high as you can, hold it for a second, and then drive it back, sweep the ground, and kick to the back. So for this one, I'm going to point my toe, and then as I come back, I'm going to flex my foot and press it to the back. So it's just a little bit of coordination you're going to have for this, and a little bit fancier, okay? So hand across the body. You're not going to be turning for this one, but it just kind of gives you a little bit of feedback to stand up nice and straight. So we're going to lift, point the toe, knee up, and then flex the foot and drive it to the back. Squeeze your glutes, flex that foot, and then bring it down. So for this one, what I really want you to think about as you drive it to the back, instead of arching your back, I don't want you to do that, because it's not about your back, it's about your glutes, hamstrings. That's what you're trying to work, and get those hips engaged. So you're going to bring it up to the front, and you're going to drive it to the back, and only come up as high as you can without starting to arch your back. Okay, so just a nice glute squeeze. You can feel it tight right through here, all the way down through the back of your leg, and then relax. Okay, so let's try a couple more reps on this side. So standing up nice and tall, lift your knee up as high as you can. Really use your core to bring that knee up nice and high, and then flex the foot and drive it to the back. Again, I'm not going very high at the back. You can see that, right? Because I'm not trying to use my back as much as I am my glutes and hamstrings. And then relax. Okay, so I'll show you from the other side. So here we are. This one I'm going to do with my hand on my hip. Standing tall, light fingers on the wall, lift up to the front as high as you can, point your toe, and then flex and drive it to the back. Nice squeeze in the glutes, hamstrings, and release and down. Okay, so again, for this one, I don't know, maybe 5 reps on each side, switch it around, and that is the high knee into donkey kick. Okay, so for the next exercise, I call this the low side leg lift, point and flex. So it's not a big movement. We are in the same position we've been this whole time, just standing beside the wall. Again, it could be a post, it could be whatever, you're just holding onto something. And nice and tall body, good posture. And then all I want you to do for this one is to take your one foot out to the side. Not very high. Maybe it's, I don't know, 2 inches off the floor. Maybe it's a little higher. But what you're not going to do is lean to the side. You're going to try to keep that body nice and tall and just using the hip to lift that leg. So bring it down. Don't worry about your foot yet. I just want you to think about not leaning, okay? So here we go. I'm going to keep my hand here for now. I'm going to lift it to the side. And now I'm going to point my toe and then flex my foot. Point my toe and flex my foot. Point my toe and flex my foot. And then bring it down. Now, why am I doing that? I'm only doing the point and flex because I want you to engage everything in your body. So I want your feet to even be doing something, but it just kind of gives you something to think about while you have that leg in the air. It's kind of You're just you want to think about lifting your leg, but at the same time, you just want to kind of trick yourself into holding your leg there a little bit longer, okay? So let's try it again or together. Standing nice and tall. I'm going to lift my leg to the side, not leaning in. It's not about that. I don't need to get it up very high to feel the work in here through the hip, through the glutes. Okay, I can feel my glutes are turned on. And I'm going to start with a point and then go to a flex. Point and flex. Point and flex. Let's do one more. Point and flex. And then back down. So it's just time under tension. It is kind of an isometric hold. You're going to hold the leg, but you're just kind of moving that foot just to give yourself something to do so you can hold it a little bit longer. Okay, so just from the other side really quick. We're standing tall. I'm going to hold my body. I'm going to lift my leg to the side, not leaning. I don't need to lean to get it higher. Not doing that. I'm just lifting as high as I can. Maybe I can do this side a little bit higher. And then I'm going to flex and point. And flex and point. And flex and point. And flex and release. Okay, so that's for the side. You can feel it in the glutes. They should be turned on while you're doing that exercise. So that is the side leg lift with a point and flex. Okay, so now we've done the front. We've rotated out to the side. We've lifted to the side. We've done a little bit to the back, but I want to do just to the back now. So that's basically what we're going to do. We're going to just stand here, nice and tall, good posture, and we're just going to take that leg. I'm going to point it first on the floor. I'm going to start on the floor just to make sure that everything is in the proper alignment, because what I don't want to do, again, I'm not trying to lean to get that leg up. That's a different exercise, okay? We're really just trying to work those glutes and hamstrings, the back of your leg. So I want you to put your foot on the floor at the back, keep the body as straight as possible. I'm going to put my hand on my hip for this one. And then squeeze the glutes just enough to lift the foot off the floor. Okay, again, very small movement. You're not doing very much. And then drop it back down. So it's just a lift, squeeze, breathe, and release. I'm going to do this one from this direction so you can see it a little bit better. Okay, so it doesn't matter really how you get it back here. I just want you to start with your foot on the floor, your toe is pointed, and your body is nice and tall. Hand on your hip. Pretend you're in ballet class. Okay, and then it's just a little squeeze and lift. And if I were watching you, I would see your glutes firing, hopefully them getting a little bit tighter, okay? And then release. It is a squeeze and lift. Point your foot. Try not to let your body come forward. You are going to feel this in your lower back. That's okay. And drop it down. And then lift. But really, it's about the glutes and hamstrings. So if you're not firing through here, your back is going to take most of the work, and then you're going to feel your back the next day and the next few days. So if you find after you've done this one that your back is a little bit sore, is telling you that you're not firing those glutes and hamstrings enough, okay? And so you could even just practice doing that. If your back is sore, instead of lifting your leg off the floor, just squeeze. Okay, put your hand on your bum and squeeze your glutes like somebody's going to punch you here. Squeeze it and just see if you're actually contracting there. So again, if your back is a little bit sore, I suggest doing that. Don't do any lift, just do the contractions, okay? So that's just the rear leg lift, and again, maybe 5 to 8 reps. Switch it around, do the other side, and maybe do it once through or maybe a few times through. So that is that one. We're going to move on to the next. Okay, so the second last exercise that we're going to talk about is called, or I call it, a crossover sweep. So we've done our hips, worked them to the front. We've done out to the side. We've worked to the back. There are hip rotations that we can do, but that's a little bit even more advanced than I want to get into today. So we're just trying to kind of keep it in each plane maybe a little bit of rotation, and we do lots of hip, like we call them hip cars, where you're going around in circles on the channel. So if you look in our hip health playlist, you will see we have lots of workouts that include that. So I would encourage you to check that out too. But the next exercise we're going to do is, we haven't worked it to this side, the inside, and really, you really want to strengthen the inside of your thigh just as much as you want to do things lifting out to the side, because our leg goes in both directions, in all directions, right? So we want to work it as well this way. And we're just going to keep this one kind of fluid, not worry so much about holding it, just more of like a dance movement, but same start position. Okay, so we're going to take our foot out to the side for this one. And then all I want you to do is maybe just a gentle lift and sweep it across. And lift and sweep it across. So if you hold it in any position, it would be here. Bring it across, hold it for a split second, and then release. Now, the key to this one, just like all the other ones, is you're trying to not move the body too much. Okay, you can a little bit for this one, but we're just trying to keep the body fairly still and work through the hip. So it's just a side leg lift, and then cross it over to the front. Side leg lift, and cross it over to the front. And if you can only get here, and it's just like crossing your legs, and you can't get it up any higher than that, that is just fine. Okay, we're beginners here, or we're older adults, and the mobility can be limited, but that's why we're working on it. So it's just a little crossover. It's a leg lift and across. Leg lift and across. And from the other side, okay, so out to the side and cross it over, lift and cross it over. What you could think about for this one is keeping your knee pointing straight ahead. So you're not trying to turn it in. You're just trying to keep it pointing in that direction. Lift and cross it over. Lift and cross it over. And that is the crossover. Last exercise. Okay, so for the last exercise that we're going to do in this little series of hip mobility exercises for beginners and older adults is called the horse stance. And it's probably the easiest one because you're not really moving too much, but you can make it difficult. As you get better at it, it can be very difficult. Okay, so the idea with this one is you're just going to stand with your legs as beginners a little wider than shoulder width apart. I would say for people who are more advanced, sure you've seen Jean-Claude Van Damme do this one. You know, he's like between two trucks driving or something like that. That's not going to be you, but that is the idea here. Okay, not a full like splats, but we're working toward wide legs. The key for this one is to keep your feet pointing straight ahead. So you could turn them out, and that's different. That's like a plie squat. That's not what we're doing here. We're trying to keep our feet pointing straight ahead, our bodies nice and tall, and then we're just going to sink down a little bit. Doesn't need to be very far, but I don't want you to drop your chest. Okay, I don't want you to go back like this. I want you to keep your body nice and straight, and you're just going to sink down as low as you can so you feel like you're working, and hold it. That's what you're going to do. So you can either have your hands on your thighs, you can have them on your waist, you can have them in the front like a prayer position, whatever works for you, whatever's comfortable, and you're just going to hold it here. And, you know, start with 5 to 10 seconds and then come out of it. So the time under tension, the longer you can hold it, that's something you would work toward. The wider your feet can be, the lower you can sink down is something you're going to work toward. But as a beginner, again, not very wide, a little wider than shoulder width apart, sinking down and just holding this position just to build it up. And make sure you're breathing, okay? So you're not holding your breath at all. You won't be able to hold it very long if you do that. Just breathing, working, and then coming up. So let's try it together. If you haven't been doing this with me already, sink down a little bit lower this time. If you need to hold on to something for this one, that's fine, but we're on both feet, so it shouldn't be that hard. So we're here, holding on, breathing, and coming up. a little bit different than a squat. So for a squat, I would say you would be aiming to sit down like on a chair or something. You'd be sitting back like this. So this is not that. This is coming straight down, as straight as you can, and then coming back up. Okay, so this is called the horse stance squat. And we're going to come down and hold it, driving your knees out as straight as you can, feet pointing straight ahead. Okay, and hold, sinking down. So you can see you're not doing too much when you're up pretty high for the hips, but you're working toward getting lower. That's what you're doing. And then when you are lower, then the hips start to really work. Okay, so that's what you're building toward. So that is the horse stance squat. And that is the end of our hip mobility exercises for beginners and older adults. I hope you enjoyed that. If you did and you want to see more, or you would like to do actual full workouts that involve lots of these exercises, check out all the rest of our channel. And the hip health playlist is where you're going to want to go. Okay, so see you guys next time.